I erroneously said that it was the last match of round one, but I forgot we had a scheduling thing, and this is actually the last match of round one that we're taping right now. We've had some people come and go from the league already. We've had some shifting in rosters. The beneficiary of that shifting in rosters, Mr. Nick Carley, is here today, and he is playing Antonio Chavez. Aaron J., my co-host, initial thoughts on this matchup.
This is the first match I'm doing where we have one manager here because he is managing both players and Joe. So that's kind of interesting. Also interesting, these guys have a lot of the same tastes. So I don't run into that problem a lot in this community because I'm one of the few with actual taste. So both these guys more commoners with their tastes. So it kind of showed up in round two. It's interesting to see how they respond to the format. I know firsthand it's not easy.
It's like two 12-year-old boys playing each other. So with that being said, we'll bring in the first of the 12-year-old boys. We'll bring in the manager, Joe. And Antonio, how's it going, Antonio? How you feeling?
You just called me a 12-year-old boy, and I'm going to take that. So I'm actually pretty excited about this. It's an interesting, new format, and it's been a while since I've seen Joe. So I'm like, it's definitely going to be an interesting match. I'm hyped up for it, and yeah, just glad to be here.
Okay. And I'm going to drop you backstage really quick. And we'll bring
Joe, how are you?
Oh,
we'll ask you with Nick, actually, Joe. We'll ask you with Nick.
Yeah, I'm going to go to Joe and then Nick. So I'll do it. And then so we'll bring in the other 12-year-old boy, Nick Carley. But before we talk to Nick, Joe, obviously you're the first manager in this strange situation where you're managing both these guys. How do you mentally prepare for this?
So I'm trying to stay as neutral as possible. Antonio and I have a history. Antonio was the first player I ever managed in any league. But I'm trying to stay impartial when they were just like, hey, should I go with this strength? And then I reminded them, I was just like, we're playing in the faction. Don't try to screw each other over. And also you can't repeat your strength 2 matches in a row. So keep something that you want later on. And whoever wins this will have to keep that same thing. Don't screw each other over because we're playing each other again in the next round.
Yeah, I'll explain that to the viewers at home. Like these are the remnants from the old league. These are all guys that played in the old league. And when we drafted, Joe happened to draft a bunch of guys from the old league over people from the new league. So there was a higher chance of people in his faction playing each other, unfortunately. Whereas in the new player side of the bracket, that doesn't happen at all. So if anybody has any problems with this, if your brain is breaking, Joe will give you his email at the end. You can send your stuff directly to him. Nick, good to see you. Nick is a success story for us, basically, because, we had the draft. We had more players than we could draft, and people bailed. And Nick, it was the first alternate. So, Nick, how you feeling to be in the league?
Oh, it's great. I was very shocked and pleasantly surprised when it happened. I've taken a long break from playing, so this is one of my first official matches in months. So it's going to be just about getting back. It's a new format, so that helps a little bit. So I'm excited to get that brain rust, shaken off a little bit and hopefully answer some questions.
Yeah. And I will say, Nick, the second I heard you were available in free agency when we had someone drop, I was like, that's who I want. Give me Nick.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Awesome. With that being said, we're going to leave Joe on a positive note. We're going to bring Antonio back in. I'm going to swap you guys.
I heard Joe guaranteeing 2 straight wins in the tournament is what I've heard.
That's what I heard. This faction is going on to round 3, no matter what.
He just guaranteed it here. That's the most. That's the most we've heard from any managers.
Sports handicappers, place your bets on this faction. All right, guys, it's your first match in singles. Let me tell you a little bit how round 1 works. Round 1 a little bit different than we do in other leagues. We do a speed round. It's not like a literal speed round. You're just going to get all the questions at once. It'll be 8 questions. I'll ask a question. We'll have a 10-second pause. Aaron will ask a question. We'll bounce back and forth until we ask all 8 questions. You'll write all 8 answers on your whiteboard. At the end, you'll turn your boards around. If you do go 8 for 8, there is a bonus question. Throughout, you have 3 repeats in a challenge. Repeats in round 1 work that at the end of time, if you want to use a repeat, it will give you 20 extra seconds to maybe fill out some answers you didn't know or didn't know right away. And you could also have me repeat a question or 2 in those 20 seconds. Any questions?
Nope. Seems clear to me.
With that being said, I'll ask you your first question, which comes in the category of the 1970s. Who directed The Goodbye Girl and The Last of Sheila?
In the category of horror, what disease are the research team trying to cure in Deep Blue Sea?
In history / biopics, Paul Scofield won a Best Actor Oscar for portraying Sir Thomas More in what 1960s biopic? It's an Oscars question disguised as a history question.
In 2010s, the movie San Andreas opens at what famous U.S. landmark?
In the category of crime, what weapon does Harry Callahan use to kill Rook at the end of the Deadpool?
In animated, how many years are there between the releases of The Incredibles and The Incredibles 2?
The category of geek. What comic book movie revolves around a law enforcement department tasked with capturing undead criminals called DEADOS?
In scores and soundtracks, who performs the title track for No Time to Die?
And your option to use a repeat expires in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pens down, everybody. We'll start with Antonio. Just turn your boards around. We'll go over your answers one at a time.
All right, so 1, I got Cindy LeMay. 2, Alzheimer's. 3, nothing. 4, Yellowstone Park. 5, 44 Magnum. 6, I think it's 14 years. 7 is RIPT, and 8 is Billie Eilish.
Okay, and Nick.
Oh, well, I think I got a couple at least. There's my answers. 1 and 3, obviously, and then I don't know if you want me to read them off or not.
By my count, I have Antonio leading a score of 4-2.
Yep.
Okay.
The answer is who directed Goodbye Girl and Last of Sheila? That's Herbert Ross. The team in Deep Blue Sea are trying to cure Alzheimer's disease.
That's right.
The biopic with starring Paul Scofield, the Oscar-winning performance as A Man for All Seasons. San Andreas opens at the Hoover Dam. Dirty Harry kills Rook with a gigantic harpoon gun. Between The Incredibles and Incredibles 2 at 14 years. R.I.P.D. is the movie with DEADOS, and Billie Eilish sang No Time to Die. So with that, Antonio, you are going to have the lead going into round 2. Let me tell you a little bit how round 2 works. These gentlemen drafted a wheel. They got their strengths. Let me bring in Joe. He's going to be here the whole time. They both have their strengths on the wheel. Antonio chose the Rocky and Creed franchise. Nick chose the 2000s Disney sports movies. That's on the wheel, as well as 6 other categories they drafted. I'll go over those right now. Geek is on there. Action adventure is on there. Animated. YA coming of age, science fiction, and fantasy. Antonio, you're in the lead. Do you want to spin first, or do you want to let Nick spin first?
I think I'll defer.
Defer? All right, Nick, I'm going to spin
Sure.
the wheel for you.
Okay.
It lands on fantasy. Do you want to keep fantasy, or would you like to spin again?
I mean, there's certainly worse things on there.
So how are you thinking there's more worse than better on there? That's the real question.
I would say, I mean, there's maybe 1 or 2 that are bad, and the rest are about on par.
Okay.
So my odds are honestly pretty good.
All right, then I would say we spin again then. If
Yeah,
you're
let's go
really
ahead.
comfortable with your odds.
All
Yeah,
right.
we'll go ahead and spin again. Yep.
And here's your second spin, which you have to keep.
Mm-hmm.
And it lands on animated.
Actually, better. All right. Or
Okay.
at least I hope so.
We'll drop that. All right, Aaron, do you want to read these animated questions, or would you like me to read them?
I can take them.
All right.
All right.
We'll drop Joe backstage, and we'll get to it.
Standard 2 points and go multiple for 1. All right,
Okay.
you ready, Nick?
Yep.
All right. In the category of animated, what 90s animated film features the only voice performance of Jack Palance?
Palance. Damn. Yeah, let's go ahead and get multiple on that one.
Okay, is it A, Anastasia, B, The Land Before Time, C, The Swan Princess, D, The Brave Little Toaster?
Damn. All right. I'm going to go with D, Brave Little Toaster.
D is incorrect. Over to Antonio for the 1 point steal. Your options: A, Anastasia; B, The Land Before Time; C, the Swan Princess; D, the Brave Little Toaster.
I guess it was D, but I'm gonna go with C.
C is correct for the 1 point steal. The Swan
man.
Princess was
That's right. Right.
All right. Question 2, Nick. The voices the titular character in the English language. The voices the titular character in the English language version of KIKI'S Delivery Service. Who voices? Sorry.
Kirsten Dunst.
That is correct for 2
PALANCE.
points. All right. Question 3. In Monster's house, what item did Chowder attempt to retrieve from Nebcracker's lawn before Nebcracker had a heart attack?
I saw this once way back in the day. I'd go multiple.
All right, your options: A, bicycle; B, basketball; C, frisbee; D, action figure.
I'm going to just go with bicycle. So A.
A is incorrect. Over to Antonio for the 1 point steal. A, bicycle; B, basketball; C, frisbee; D, action figure.
I'm gonna say action figure.
D is also incorrect. It was basketball.
Basketball.
Okay. All right. Your pentultimate question. In Happy Feet, what pre-hatch event is believed to be caused of Mumble's lack of singing ability?
I hate to do it, but multiple again, please.
All right. Your options: A, full moon before the egg was laid; B, a curse upon his father's family; C, his mother ate some bad fish; D, his father dropped the egg.
I kind of remember this, maybe. I think it's D. Dropping the egg.
D is correct for 1 point.
Okay.
All right, your final question here in the category of animated. What U.S. state is Cartman told to say out loud while testing the V-chip in his head in South Park? Bigger, longer, and uncut.
Oh my God. What a fantastic question. I hate to do it again, but multiple choice.
Your options: A, California; B, Oregon; C, Montana; D, Florida.
Is it Oregon? I don't know.
That is
I don't
incorrect.
remember. Yeah.
Over to Antonio for the steal. A, California; B, Oregon; C, Montana; D, Florida.
Is it Florida?
It is not. It is Montana.
Montana. Okay.
All right, that being said, I do have a tie score coming out of that round. It's 5-5, and we're going to go over to Antonio. We'll bring Joe back. We'll bring the wheel back. Antonio, your first spin is away. It lands on action adventure. Do you want to keep that or spin again?
Same question. Are you feeling there's more good or bad for you that's left on there?
More good, but I mean, like, I'd rather not risk it anyway because at least this one we can sort of work through.
All right, then then I said let's go ahead and keep it.
Let's keep this, yeah.
Okay. We drop everything backstage. Joe, thank you for your input. Antonio, you ready for your questions in action adventure?
Yeah.
Your first question. In Lethal Weapon, Gary Busey's character is known by what singular name?
Joshua.
That is correct for 2 points. Your second question. Who directed The Game?
David Fincher.
Mm-hmm.
That's correct for 2 points. Your third question. What is the profession-based nickname of the arms dealer Doc's final team deals with in Baby Driver?
Multiple choice.
All right, your multiple choice answers. Is it A, the importer, B, the cook, C, the mechanic, or D, the butcher?
The butcher.
That's correct for a point.
Mm-hmm.
Your penultimate question. Who plays Jackson's ex-wife, Kate, in 2012?
Just say multiple choice.
Multiple choice answers. Is it A, Julie Benz, B, Angie Harmon, C, Amanda Peet, or D, Catherine McCormick?
Amanda Peet.
That is correct for a point.
You should have pronounced it 2012. That's what threw him off.
Oh, man. 2012.
No one calls it 2012, you cop.
I'm a narc.
It's like, oh, you seen that 2012 flick?
Mhm.
The talkie? Sorry.
The moving picture. All right. Your final question in Action Adventure. In Logan's Run, what are the special police units used to track down the runners called?
Multiple choice. Never seen this movie.
Is it A, retrievers, B, sandmen, C, bloodhounds, or D, tranquilizers?
Can we get a repeat of the question?
Sure. It's your first repeat. In Logan's Run, what are the special police units used to track down runners called? A, retrievers, B, sandmen, C, bloodhounds, or D, tranquilizers?
Retrievers?
That is incorrect. Chance for a 1-point steal, Nick. Is it A, retrievers, B, sandmen, C, bloodhounds, or D, tranquilizers?
Let's try C, bloodhounds.
It is also incorrect. They are
Okay.
the sandmen.
They are the same.
Sounds fancy. Yeah.
That was my other choice. Okay.
That being said, coming out of round 2, I have Antonio up to 11, Nick behind with 5. Is that what you have?
That's all I got.
Okay, guys, round 3 is the mastery round. Before the round, like I said, you guys gave me your masteries. Nick, you gave me 2000s Disney sports movies. Antonio, you're doing the Rocky and Creed franchise. Since Aaron read Nick's questions in round 2, I'll start reading you your questions in round 3. Nick,
Okay.
are you ready to answer some Disney sports 2000s questions?
Sure.
Okay, your 2-pointer in 2000s Disney sports movies. Who plays Maggie's father, Ray, in Herbie Fully Loaded?
Good old. I knew this one was going to come up. I don't know. Let's just say Randy Quaid.
Unfortunately, that's incorrect. It is played by Michael.
Michael Keaton.
Keaton. Yeah.
I was thinking the wrong movie.
You will need to answer both these questions correctly
Yeah.
and kick it back over to Antonio. All right, your 3-pointer in 2000s Disney sports movies. What team does Joe Kingman play for in The Game Plan? And I need the city and team name.
I'll go ahead and use a repeat. Sure.
Okay, your first repeat. 2 left.
Mhm.
What team does Joe Kingman play for in The Game Plan? And we need the full team name.
The full team. I don't remember if it's a new actual team or not. So I'm just I'm going to say Arizona Cardinals. Final answer.
And your winner, yes, the Boston Rebels by
Yeah, I knew it was a fake team. Yeah.
Antonio Chavez. With that, we'll bring Joe back in. We'll bring Antonio back in just a moment. But hey, Joe, good news, you guys won. But Nick is also here. How you feeling, Nick? Well, Nick, we'll just talk to you. How you feeling? Because we know Joe's going to say positive stuff in a minute.
Yeah. Well, at least I answered some questions. I'm happy with that.
Do you feel like you knocked enough rust off that you're going to be on?
I know what to study on more and whatnot. I think it certainly helped just jumping back into the ring again. But I really like that first round format. By the way, that's really cool. So and I think that can definitely get better at that the more you do it. But anyways, no, I'm happy. At least got a couple questions in round 1 and a couple in round 2, and of course the 2 and 3-pointer I should have known we're going to come to ones that I was not able to watch, but that's usually how it goes. Otherwise,
I remember the Titans. The 5-pointer was a remember the Titans question, which I'm sure.
Of course it was. So I maybe would have gotten that one. Maybe.
Yeah. With that being said, we are going to just drop you backstage really quick and just go over to Antonio. But we're going to see you before you even know it, Nick. You'll be back.
Sounds good.
And today's winner, Antonio Chavez. Joe, now you talk.
Yeah, that was a great match. Both guys, they both played hard. I think it just round two went Antonio's way, and I think if there were different categories, it could have swung either way. They're both very strong competitors. Like I've said, I think I assembled a really strong faction. So when we play against each other, it's gonna be hard because you're going to have a strong player who can't keep playing, who has to take a back seat for a little bit so the other strong players can shine. But I think we're up to the challenge because I think we have a bunch of people who complement each other and are going to push each other to be better players. Yeah, and so I'm just very happy. I'm excited to see what Antonio and Scott can do in round two against each other, and then just support whoever wins that match throughout the rest of the tournament until we run into another faction member, and then got to go back to being neutral.
Antonio, how are you feeling your first singles match here? Well, you're in the new league. How was it? How you feeling? All the generic questions.
I do agree with Nick that the round one format is something I really enjoy. I was glad to actually still get something in my wheelhouse in round two. And it's funny how I knew pretty much all of Nick's questions for round three. I'm like, maybe I should make that my strength since I can't reuse mine. So, yeah, man, it feels pretty good. I like that this was short and sweet. And it was good to just get back into the swing of things. And, yeah, just keep hoping to go on a tournament. So keep repping
Joe already spoiled who you're playing next. You'll be playing Scott. How do you feel about that? I'm sure you guys have played like 15 times already. How are you feeling about playing Scott?
Like he says, we played a lot. I'm always going to be nervous going against Scott, but yeah, I'm ready for it. I'm going to see how round two is going to go. I feel like that's always going to be the make or break round. So just always curious to see how that's going to go, but I'll be ready for it. So.
He hasn't played a match yet in the tournament, so I do imagine Greta Gerwig is active. How are you feeling about that?
I was watching a Greta Gerwig movie today. It was Greenberg. And I'm like, all right, I don't mind watching more. So that's all right with me.
Get through Greenberg, you're good.
Right.
Well, that being said, congratulations, Antonio. We will see you very soon. Those matches are coming up before you know it. We're going to drop you and Joe backstage and close this thing out. Aaron, final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like with these matches, like especially your first match, speaking from experience, it feels like it happens so quickly because that first round just happens that way. So, at the end of the day, one got a category they could work a little more with in round two. Sometimes action adventure. You've seen the movies, and it can be really easy. It seemed like Antonio had seen a few of those. So, but I just always think animation is hard. So I always wonder why people, but
there's so many different realms in animation, and they could all.
And it's such there's very deep casts and with a lot of names. Like you have to know what movie Jack Palance was in. Like that it's tough. So I think Nick did good, got the rust off, and. I know that my match after this that I played much better. So I wish him similar luck. Congratulations to Antonio.
All right. With that being said, I'm John Maher. That's Aaron J. For Nick Carley and Antonio Chavez, our players. For Joe Harrison, the only manager we saw this evening. And for all the other players and writers and admins here, this has been Trivia League Unlimited. If Bill were here, he would say hit the button. Is it Frank? So hit that button, Frank.